Welcome to the podcast, Kill Complacency. Here we inspire intentional living by motivating others to handle hard better. And here's your host, Marty Hofmann.
Today's podcast is with Sarah Miskelly. She's from Costa Rica, and I should actually say she's from Canada, but she now lives in Costa Rica. I know her from LinkedIn. She's got tons of good content on there. You guys can follow her there. She also has a podcast. But the first part of this, we're going to talk a little bit about how she got into real estate at a very early age with her father, but also how she had to take that on when he passed away and how she grew as a woman and just in her knowledge as a result of that difficulty. So lots of good things come from hardships, and she is a great example of that on this podcast today. Hope you'll listen to the end and enjoy. We'll be breaking this up and into two parts. So this is part one. Thank you so much for being here today. Today's guest is Sarah Miskelly, and she's actually someone I follow on LinkedIn, and she, I believe, is living her best life as she has kind of restructured her life to have a lifestyle of freedom rather than just working all the time. And she has a big heart to serve people by getting them more involved in real estate. But Sarah, could you take us back a little bit to when you said, you know what, I'm going to change and I'm going to restructure my life? What did that look like? What kind of steps did you have to take? And maybe give us some background. I know you grew up in Canada, and you wanted to move south for the winter, right? But kind of share your story with us, I guess, a little bit.
For sure. So yeah, I grew up in Canada, which everybody knows who knows about Canada. The winters are horrible. But yeah, I grew up in an apartment building. I was with my single mom. And then when I was 3, I met my dad, who was a real estate investor. So he really got me introduced into this world of things. And as a kid, I had to help him manage his properties, like shovel the snow, run checks to the bank, clean units before, a new tenant would move in. So I got immersed in this world. And then when I was 16, unfortunately, he passed away and I had to take over the portfolio. So we had multifamily assets in Toronto. So that was really challenging, but I think he gave me a good foundation. And then from there, I went into real estate sales in Toronto, Canada. So I went down that career path pretty aggressively. I was top agent under 30, I was building $1 million business. I just got to the point where I was working 7 days a week and I would drink smoothies instead of eating food because it wouldn't waste time. And I was drinking like 5 espressos a day. I was drinking too much wine. And I just got to a point where I was like, this lifestyle is unsustainable. But one of the blessings was because of that foundation I had in real estate, I understood the dynamics of what owning real estate had created for a family. Because, while my dad was working really hard, we'd also spend summers in Croatia, like on the beach. And I think that mix of that Euro lifestyle gave me a window to something different where people were more balanced or just enjoyed their life a little bit more. So once, COVID hit, I was thinking about having kids and I was at the height of my real estate career, like the kind of career where people are like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe you're giving this up. Like you're building this incredible business. But I was just like, I don't want this anymore. Like, this is not the life I want with a family at all. I just went deep into my investing that I'd already started. And that's just become my entire focus, is continuing to expand my real estate portfolio in both passive and active investments. And now I have the incredible opportunity to actually partner with other people and educate them on passive investing and get them into deals that they may not have known about. So that's a little bit of a long story,
That's
but
awesome.
That's kind of how I got into where I am today.
Let me unpack that a little. You said at 16, your dad died, and you were left to manage his portfolio. So what did that look like?
It was really tough. There was, just a lot of family dynamics happening because when somebody passes away, everybody's
Hmm.
hands, come out looking for money, basically. A lot of lawyers involved. I was assigned a lawyer to represent me as like a
Hmm.
minor. And then as well, I just had to face the reality that we had properties that there was renovations half done and there was tenants that needed to be taken care of. And, you know, that was what my dad did. But you just kind of grow into the situations that surround you. So I just had to do it. And, it helped
Wow.
me grow up fast. But as they say in life, like your disappointments lead to your destiny, and all those experiences have helped me really see the value of real estate and how it can help other people and their families. And yeah, and that management isn't as hard as it needs to be. And I always tell people that, just having done it for so many years now.
Yeah. Um, that's crazy. Like, so you're still in high school at that point, and
Yeah.
you're burdened with this responsibility. Like, do your peers understand that? I mean, your friends, do
Um,
they understand the?
I mean, no, like, no, I guess you can't, but at the same time, like, look, I had good friends. I was in a good community, like as challenging as it was, I was raised to be a hard worker. My dad was from
Hmm.
Croatia. He was a classic immigrant story. I just did what I needed to do to make things happen. And so it just was a situation. Everybody goes through challenges, and it just kind
Yeah.
of had to get done. That's my attitude. It had to get done.
That's so good. Um, talk to me about 2020. Like, obviously, COVID happens. So many people reevaluated their life, partly because things slowed down, but partly because they were home and they were with loved ones and asking some hard questions. But talk us through that process with yourself.
Well, I got lucky in a sense. I actually got stranded on a tropical island. Like, no joke. I had gone away for my birthday. I was secretly pregnant at that time. My mom didn't know. And when I was on this tropical island, it was in Belize, the airport shut down. So,
Mm,
we all know COVID at the height of what was happening. There was no way out. And I was forced to just be with myself after not being with myself for years, just working all the time. And it was actually very confronting. I didn't know how to
mm,
handle that much free time. And then I, was able to assess, like many people, what do I want this new season of life to look like with young children? And,
mm-hmm,
I just couldn't foresee myself going back to the grind of what I was doing before. But it was also really hard. Like I was giving up a $400,000 salary. Like that's a
mm-hmm,
lot of money. And it took me
mm-hmm,
years to build my business. So it
mm-hmm,
wasn't an easy decision. And I took a risk in that regard. And I decided that I wanted to do something different.
mm. Now, your pregnancy probably played into some of that heart searching, don't you think, at that point?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And are you stranded with your husband as well, or is it just you?
Yeah. So he was the one I went to visit because he was already
Okay.
there. So we were together, which was nice. We had this time together. And eventually, though, we had to come back to Toronto and you're kind of back to reality in a sense. Although reality had changed, as everybody knows, during COVID, which it was really bad. I mean, everything everybody says it was really bad everywhere, but it was really bad in Canada because, there was minus 30-degree weather in winter. We weren't allowed to leave our apartments. Psychologically, it was very draining for people. But also, as you said, very reflective time.
Hmm. So you get back to Toronto. Now, tell me about that conversation, that exit. How did it's easy to have these, I'll just call them like camp experiences where we make these decisions. How did you go back and how did you implement them?
And this is where, great question, because this is where my passion for now educating people about real estates was really magnified. The decision to give up that income and that career likely wouldn't have even been possible if I did not have cash flowing assets. And my husband is
Mm,
also a real estate investor. So we both had the ability to say, look, we have properties that are paying us income. And we can now, even though our, income may not look like, what we'd earn in a W-2 or,
Hmm.
the amount that you were making in a sales career, but that foundation of real estate gave us the freedom to make decisions that were better for our growing family, for our mental health, for our physical health. And that's what I'm, a big proponent of now, is ensuring that people get some real estate basically, but also just see that about the asset. Really, it's about like, well, what do you want your life to look like when it's unconstrained by the stresses and pressures of, having to just scrape by, paycheck to
Hmm.
paycheck. And, once again, the ability to create that foundation, these were people that just came to Canada, like my parents, just immigrants. They came in, had regular jobs, and they built that foundation. So I'm always grateful for that. And I think that also is why I like to share so much about it.
Yeah, that's so cool. So, I'm curious about this, and we'll get into that later. It's a real estate question. Um, so that's really, really cool, and that really helps your message now as you try to help people invest in real estate, because your background, so much of your background is real estate, but the passive, the passive income part of it was in regards to the lifestyle of freedom. It's really, really allowed that freedom, right? Is because you had assets that were paying you while you were sleeping, if you will.
Yeah. And, like, I don't want to overly glamorize it or, make it seem like it's just you're making money all the time so easy. Like, no, there's assets that need property
Yeah.
management, like there's expenses to it. And you'll get to a point where you've built up the systems and structures to make that possible. But as well, through that journey of having grown up in the world of real estate, I took the initiative myself to then learn about different investing structures within real estate. And that's when I started discovering, around 20, I started discovering private lending, where you act as the bank and you lend your own money to others backed by real estate. And that's completely passive, aside from, you're going to have to meet with a lawyer, you're going to have to do some banking,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to do your taxes. But there's so many different ways to invest in real estate, especially now, that don't actually require your active management, and that enable you to be, let's say, in another country and still be getting,
Mm-hmm.
cash flow from a property. So those are kind of the options that I was exposed to and I educated myself on. And I really, to me, real estate is all about diversification in real estate and giving people options about how can they get into this incredible asset class. But maybe they're not the most handy person, or they don't have so much time because they're working a W-2 job, or they have a family, or they're just busy like most people. So that's really what is incredible, is there's different ways you can diversify in real estate, essentially.
There's so much. I have 6 kids, but my oldest 2 are adults now, and they're in the real estate. They're dabbling with it. My son's an agent, and that's what he told me this week. Like, man, there's just so many ways to make this work, and so many different ways to do it. And we were actually talking about the June tax sale, where tax liens get sold. But then the opposite end of that, the business opportunity to help those people get the money that had their house foreclosed on. And he never realized before that there was, a whole nother business opportunity right there. So to your point, yeah, there's so many ways to skin the cat in real estate. It doesn't have to be just being a landlord.
Exactly.
um, your husband's into real estate as well. Are you guys in the same asset class? Are you guys multifamily? Is that your
So we're
favorite
in
one?
Yeah, we're in various asset classes. So, my foundational portfolio is small multifamily, some more residential units, like 4, 5, 6. My husband, he started building out his portfolio with just student housing. So he'd rent houses in
Mm,
his hometown, subdivide it out and rent it out to students. And then actually he then expanded his portfolio into Michigan. And that's when Michigan, was really, there's a lot of people going there and buying assets. So he would do similar to your point. He would go in with properties that were getting foreclosed on, and he'd help the people living in the property kind of restructure their finances so they could stay in the home. So he did that, and that was where his foundational portfolio was.
Mm,
And then he got into some resort real estate internationally, and now he's working on putting a portfolio together to uplist. So we're both in the world of real estate, and I think that definitely helps from a conversations at home or understanding of the sacrifices you make as an entrepreneur, or that I can't help myself but always be looking for new things to do and learn about. So it definitely is a good balance, so that we're both have an understanding of what the structures look like, and an understanding of each other.
sure. Um, do you and him ever argue about what asset's better? Since you guys all over the place?
No, not really, because this is where I'm not confrontational about it. I think that there's value in so many different things, and people are going to get drawn to different things for different reasons. Like,
Mhm.
you can't expect the same thing from every investment. Real estate as
Yeah.
well. Some people need long-term wealth building. Some people need cash flow, right? Some people need tax benefits. Some people are just looking for security and diversification. So there's each different kind of real estate investment offers different things. And that's why I would never sit here and knock, somebody who's really crushing it in Airbnbs or short-term rentals, or
Yeah.
somebody that's crushing it in single family, because if they're happy with the results they're getting, like, great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've just naturally, because I think I've been in it for a while, I've naturally scaled up and gotten into more of the larger commercial assets at this point.
Mhm. Now, Sarah, do you guys have a fund as well, right?
Yeah, so right now I'm partnering on a fund. It's a private credit fund. I don't know how nitty gritty we want to get in terms of technical details on the show, but high level, the opportunity that's available for passive investors, and that's what an LP is, a limited partner, is they can invest in, you know, essentially a parcel. It's not a REIT, but a few assets that are put together in a
Mhm.
fund. And the benefit to them is that security of diversification, and knowing that there's an expert team that's running the properties, and they're getting, cash flow every month. They're getting profit share, as properties get cycled or refinanced in and out of the fund. And there's just a lot of great opportunities available like this. So that's what I'm working on right now. But there's always new things coming up.
Yeah. I haven't started a fund, but I've dabbled with learning about them, and yeah, I think it's great you're doing that. A
Mhm.
lot of I mean, the opportunities you have to help people are tremendous there. Not only with the asset because of your skill and your team, but also the investors who need to put their money to work and want to put their money to work in an asset that's great like real estate with a trusted team like you have. So
For
kudos to
sure.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's, I appreciate it. I just find a lot of people are, sick of riding the stock market roller coaster. And then some are just at a point where they're playing catch up with their retirement, and they're just really looking for a way to make their money work harder for them. Like, people work really
Mhm.
hard, and their money should work just as hard for them. And that's kind of what I've been able to see the effects of in my life. And there was actually, it's funny, I was watching a reel the other day, and this guy, he was also in real estate, of course. I guess that's what shows up on my algorithm. But he was saying that, he's going to speak on other people's behalf because he's free enough to talk. So, the reason I'm able to even do this is because I have that foundation, right, of the
Mhm.
stability. And I think that's where it kind of gives you this, I don't want to say I'm on like a platform and it's all also important, but it's just like I feel that it's a privilege to be able to share. And I really genuinely enjoy it,
Mhm.
educating people on different options in real estate, because it gets them to buy their time back. Most people
Mhm.
love working from the people that I interact with, but they just want a little bit more of that, their time, and a little bit more security.
Well, and that's why I mean, I'm excited to do this with you because I feel like you so elegantly emulate that whole buy back your time, that lifestyle of freedom. Your weekends look completely different now than they did 5 years ago
Yeah.
because you've done that, you know?
Yep, for sure. I used to do open houses every weekend. And I mean, you're said your son's an agent, but that doesn't look like 2 hours on a Saturday and Sunday. That's like get up at 5 a.m., follow up with leads, get all the signs, put the paper on the signs, tape all the signs, go drive them so they're ready in the morning so that people can see them all day. Drive to the open house, turn on for a few hours your energy and, just be available. And by the end of the day, you're spent. So I would do that every weekend. And then I would
Hmm.
go back to work on Monday and work, those 12-hour days. And it just wasn't sustainable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so glad you had that experience of being able to evaluate life, because I mean, imagine Sarah as a parent right now had you not had that heart to heart with yourself, and
Yeah,
what you'd be missing out on with your kids.
for sure. And it
So,
was, you know what, I don't want to diminish either that, like, I was privileged in a sense that I had that
mhm.
opportunity. Like, there's a lot of people that, they're really struggling, especially in today's economy. Like, it's not easy. And a lot of people have to make decisions for their family that there's a pain there where they have to work because they don't have that ability to just say, hey, look, I can kind of have a decision made where I get more time with my family. So, it's really something that if I can just nudge one person to buy that first asset, to me, you may
Yeah.
not see the benefit tomorrow. It's not a get rich quick scheme, but the compound effect of that over time, both in what you're saving to purchase the asset and with the appreciation and the cash flow, you can create a better future for yourself and your family. So,
No, and I appreciate you saying that, Sarah, because um kind of where I got with real estate is, I mean, as you know, it becomes easier and easier to acquire assets, but I realized I wanted to give back. We started a real estate meetup, but I realized the hiccup is getting people not the information necessarily, but getting that mindset changed, adjusted. And because I agree, I so badly want more people to buy these assets, and because I can see what it's done for myself, I can see what it's done for you, I can see what it's done for so many of my friends as prices have gone up and appreciation's gone up. There's tax benefits. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we could talk about. But I want that for everybody. But I realize I need to get people off the couch. I need to get them more involved. And so that's why, like your story, I want to hear your story, like, because you have what so many people want, and that's the lifestyle of freedom. Um, you could make that decision at, I don't know, maybe, I don't know how old you are, but maybe 30 years old, that you were going to start over, and but it was because of decisions you made early on regarding real estate. So,
yeah, for
um,
sure. And yeah, I'm 35, so no offense there. Like, how old are you? I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, but it's basically it's just good to be able to make decisions and look, like, life's not perfect. It's never to be like, oh, life is perfect at some point. I'm probably my biggest problem. I'm a driver. I like to accomplish things. I like to be busy. So, even I'm not sitting on the beach drinking Mai Tais. I'm like, no, like, let me create content. Let me educate other people. How can I level up? Like, how can I improve my skill set? What is that next thing that I want to accomplish? And even being that, though, that's a privilege that I can do that. And now,
mhm,
if I wanted to go surfing on a Wednesday morning, I can, if I so choose. Is my
yeah.
day going to end at 4 to just be with my kids? Yes. But I don't want to make it seem like overly romantic. But at the same time, it's just that freedom of choice, I think, is really a beautiful thing. And that's what I really want for more people, essentially.
Sarah, I agree. I don't want to make it overly romantic, um, because there's a lot of really hard things with real estate. I mean, you're involved with people, and their home is their security, so it's often high emotions on whatever end, whether you're buying or selling. So I agree, but a lot of I guess this is what I would say. A lot of times the more we do the hard, the easier it gets, but also the hard is where you find the rewards at the end of it. And when we just do the easy, when we just drift, that's when we miss out, because we don't know what the hard is. We don't know what it looks like to improve our life and be thinking more long term. So
yeah, well said. And it's actually bringing me back to something I heard the other day, and it was saying you can tell the size of a man by the size of his problems. So start taking pride in your problems, because they will basically show you the man you'll become, man or woman you'll become. So yes, the problems are going to get us to be a bigger person many times, or, bring us in a certain direction. My problems in life have brought me closer to my faith, which is now really important to me. So problems are good. You can have good problems if they're taking you in a direction that helps you elevate and grow.
hey, just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives, to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there, spread the message, share. And if you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store in show notes as well. But it's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com, mindsetshop.com. Check it out. Thank you guys so much, and have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Kill Complacency. Follow and share our podcast to change lives and inspire growth.